Well, it's good. It's like you know, uh, some people might try to, you know, present people like myself as superstitious people who don't believe in things like science. When in all actuality, I really do believe in science. I like, for instance, I like watching documentaries. So I got it from the History Channel more when I was younger. When I was like 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. I used to watch the History Channel all the time. I could sit there just for hours watching Animal Planet, History Channel. And in those days, the History Channel was less biased. I can see, like I said, I still appreciate the History Channel, but look, I can tell like they've been infiltrated and taken over and kind of used as a semi-propaganda type promoter, because just when you think of history, you think for some reason like, oh, these people are trustworthy. Well, what if their leadership is corrupted? And just like the people in government, when you got lobbyists who can pay them to be loyal to the money and not to what's right, same thing can happen to a TV station as well. But not a lot of people are familiar with this. They think they're still on this paradigm that Osama blew up the tower and that those guys, their passports were all found, but the black box wasn't found. And these guys are all still alive. They were all CIA employees. Tim Osman, which is the real name of Osama. And look, you watch the ISIS videos of all these fake beheadings. This is what they did with Osama way back then. And all these people are still under this impression, just like even that the towers were brought down in a controlled demolition, though they were, but it's not. That's not the whole truth. Like basically, look, there is a documentary called by Dr. Judy Woods, and she talks about projected energy weapons and the Tesla technology. That they're afraid of Tesla technology information getting out because Tesla had free energy way back in like almost 100 years ago, it seems like now. So they purposefully conceal that because at the time Edison, which General Electric, which comes from Edison, which is military industrial complex, because what they do is they have a revolving door between nuclear power, because nuclear power, what it does, when they deplete the uranium, they use that uranium from those nuclear facilities to make bombs with. So in order to make materials to make bombs, they got to use it somehow first to put it in the proper unstable state that they can use it in bombs. And this is your real reason why that there's nuclear power plants everywhere and they're shutting off every other power source. But back to Judy Woods and the projected energy weapons, that there's this guy named Hutchinson, and there's even something called the Hutchinson effect or the Z-pinch theory, which is to do with physics and cold fusion. So basically, they can make this ray gun that also can create cold fusion, or it can be used as a weapon to, it basically defies physics. You could take a piece of metal and it'll just twist and bend, and it'll be red hot, but it'll be cold to the touch. I mean, you'd have to look at this woman's presentation of projected energy weapons. It's Dr. Judy Woods, and she put together a very compelling case that 9/11 was actually done by a ray gun. There's your Star Wars. That is Ronald Reagan started the Star Wars program. And basically that was to fight aliens, but they've been alluding that the governments are working with aliens already. Bill Cooper dropped that knowledge with MJ-12, and the Hellier guy from Canada just came out and said aliens are real. Bill Clinton's talking about aliens are going to be released. The Vatican's talking about aliens. They got their telescope over down there by where the Pueblos used to be, looking at, and they got their telescope called Lucifer. I mean, these guys are Lucifer worshippers, dude. You can't deny that. There's no way you would never reverence Lucifer in the Bible when it's, Isaiah 14. I love that scripture because it just, anyone who wants to try to proclaim that Lucifer's this good guy, he's not. You know what I'm saying? So I just be peeping. I be peeping things, and on that video, she shows like, listen, science isn't based on fact. It's based on votes. So if you got 10 corrupt guys, like I said, like listen, if you ask 10 guys who all have stock in cotton if they wish to legalize hemp, they're all gonna vote no, because look, then they lose their profits that they made. They lose their monopoly. You know what I'm saying? Same thing. Their monopoly on energy. If this ray gun could be used to create free energy, well, that's less control. That's freeing of mankind. They don't want man to be free. They want us to be dependent on the state. It'd be one thing, we should be dependent on each other, but we're not. It's like we need this middleman. We need these people with all this perceived authority, which in all there's nowhere they derive their authority from. It's just like our fiat currency. It's fiat authority. It's only authority because you believe it is. But listen, here's where the real authority comes from. Try to defect and watch how fast you get shot to death, or you get locked down forever and thrown under the jail. And that's how you know someone's innocent. When they get thrown down like that and they don't never get to talk, they get put under the jail, or they claim that they did some crime and they got shot or something. You know, they always sweep it under the rug. They always do. I mean, that's a telltale sign of conspiracy, is that the so-called culprit did his dirt and then he kills himself before he gets a chance to spill the beans on why, who paid him, who was working for him, which CIA employee contracted him to do what he did, this operation. Because a lot of times you'll get these CIA, FBI guys, and they'll come and they'll teach you how to make bombs, and then they'll place you in the right place, and right before they'll say it's just a drill, but then at the last minute it'll go live, and they'll use your narrative and they'll present it to the public as it was real, when it was just an operation to scare you into allowing them to pass the legislation that will come back to bite you in the ass later. You'll realize, like, you'll be like, man, I got rights. And they'll be like, no, you don't. Them have been eroded a long time ago. But, well, it doesn't matter anymore if you know or not, because it's too late. Now we're going to take your ass down. You know what I'm saying? So that's one of the reasons, I'll be dropping these videos, so it's like, look, there's documentation that, look, if anything goes down, it's because they don't like me making the videos, and they're gonna set me up as some kind of patsy in some kind of operation. They do it. There's active shooter drills all the time. All they have to do is set it up, let it go down, and you would never know the difference. You know what I'm saying? We would never know the difference. We don't know if those pictures they're showing us of shooters are just CGI, basically, and the whole narrative is totally manufactured like a Hollywood movie script. It's that fucking sickening. And here's another thing, people never make this connection about Serco. That's SERCO. I call it Serpent Co. because it's the devil, okay? These guys are responsible for air controller trafficking, okay? They're the corporation that controls it all. And they were the ones responsible for the stand down order on 9/11. So you got to look into that. And they're also connected to Sandy Hook. So Serco is connected to false flag hoaxes. Period. You know what I'm saying? They're probably, and 7/77, probably the 7 bombing over there in Britain, which was a false flag, just like 9/11 was here in America. And there's also a Zionist connection too, but I mean, Zionism is a smaller faction of the Israel as a state. Because, like I said, listen, I realize there's a political Israel, there's a religious Israel, and then there is a hereditary or ethnic Israel. So, I mean, you got to distinguish between all three, because they like to masquerade as the good guys, and then they'll start something, and then they'll point the fingers at their political enemies, and then you'll demonize their political enemies, so they kill two birds with one stone. They get rid of their competition, further consolidating, centralizing their power structure. this is the way of how our politics work. It's all smoke and mirrors. It's all bullshit. You know what I'm saying? You gotta read between the lines. You gotta do a little bit of homework. But once you have the Rosetta Stone of understanding of how the media works, it's hard for them to deceive you. I mean, it's like you could almost assume 90% of everything you hear through any mainstream source is taint. 10% of it's real, and it's you got to read between the lines to find that 10%. But these are just little instances how you can go and pick their narrative apart. That's what I was saying. It's like, look, that's the beautiful thing about the truth. It really does smash the lies. Though, you know, at some point they're going to come and make this body, this vessel, pay the price for letting this truth spill out. But it is what it is.